Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the Power Save Schools Program Professional Development Workshop. I've made this recording because there were some people who could not make any of the PDWs, which is fine. So I figured I would go ahead and make a recording to make it easier for everyone and send it out. So this is it. It's preliminary information. I'm always available to answer more questions, and as well, once the website gets launched, there will probably be a lot more questions answered for you. But let's go ahead and run through this, and let's get you all started. So this is me, Jamie Ratora, and that is my face. For those of you who don't know me, for those of you who do know me, you have seen me before, and I welcome you back. But for the newbies, I welcome you to the program. This is really exciting. This is the biggest year in New Jersey yet. We are currently at 77 schools in the state of New Jersey, whereas last year we were at 38 schools. So we've grown quite a bit, and that's all thanks to you. And I'm really excited to work with each and every one of you this school year. The Power Save Schools program is funded by New Jersey Natural Gas and South Jersey Gas. So likely you will be in one of these two territories. For my New Jersey Natural Gas folks, they're usually the more northern people, and the South Jersey Gas folks, you know who you are, you're the southern people. So we are, in fact, all over the state right now. We do have two partnerships as well going on, Sustainable Jersey for Schools, as well as New Jersey Autobahns Eco Schools. And the way that we partner with these two programs is if you are already registered with one or both, that's fantastic. Sustainable Jersey for Schools has listed a few actions that are directly pertaining to the Power Save Schools program. So if you complete this program throughout the year, you automatically get points on your application for Sustainable Jersey, and I will be emailing a list of what those actions are to you. And then for New Jersey Autobahns Eco Schools, there is an energy pathway that is a mandatory to complete in order to be part of the program, and we fulfill that entire energy action for eco schools. So once you complete our program, that pathway for energy is completed. And at the end of the year, what we do for eco schools is I work directly with them. I give them your information, and we go from there. You've received then your energy pathway through them. So that's how we've partnered as well. You'll recognize throughout the school year that if you are registered with one of those two programs or both, you qualify for more grants than just the average school. So you'll definitely want to take a look at those on both of their websites, see what kind of grants are available at any given time. If you have not registered for Sustainable Jersey for Schools, make sure you do that. And this way you can go ahead and get started with their grant programs as well. Okay, so today's agenda. So I apologize for, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but I apologize for this little box here. This is so that I can record what we're saying. So it's going to go right through the title line on every single page, it looks like. So I'm going to apologize for that now, but we will get through it together. So today's agenda is really very brief. I'm going to give you a quick introduction to Power Save Schools program. I'll walk you through the online portal for students. That is not launched yet, so once it launches, you'll have a better idea and you'll be able to play with it a little bit, and so will your students. We're going to go through a few of the benchmarks that will be due originally. These are the benchmarks that are going to be before the winter break and before the mid-year meeting. When we get to the mid-year meeting, we will pull together again and talk about what the next benchmarks will be. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the online portal for teachers and the difference between the student portal and the teacher portal. And then I have some information for you from the funders, partners, and a little bit of fun extras. Just basically some contact information for the funders and partners, and then some information from me. Okay, so Power Save Schools mission. Our mission statement is empowering students and generating change. And so what this means to me is that the students are the greatest advocates, the greatest ambassadors for anything that can possibly be done, in my opinion. We took this program from simply locating policy and trying to build policy in Washington, D.C. on the Hill, to realizing that students are the way of the future, and they're the ones who are going to be able to fulfill energy efficiency in and of itself, and anything else for that matter. Everybody listens to children nowadays, which is incredible. That's not how it used to be. And once we empower students with the knowledge, they take it with them through the years. It's really, really incredible to see what students are doing nowadays. I always say that when I was their age, I wasn't nearly as smart or nearly as aware. So we have huge advantages nowadays that these students are learning things that I never learned. So I'm pretty proud to be a part of it, and I love that it's very, very student focused. Power Save Schools goals. So number one, first and foremost, is to save energy and reduce costs. That is the Alliance to Save Energy, which is my umbrella company. That is their mission as well. And with Power Save Schools, we're taking it into the schools directly to where the children are every single day. So we normally talk about how we spend most of our lives at work. We spend 8 to 9 to 10 hours a day at work. Well, these students spend the same amount of time in school. So it's really important to teach them simple behaviors that they can use on a daily or minute-to-minute basis to make a better, more comfortable learning environment, as well to save energy. It's really, really huge. And in the meantime, they're going to be reducing costs both at school and at home because they're going to be utilizing these simple everyday behaviors. And that's what's going to change the course and the trajectory of their bills in the long term. The second is to educate students about energy. So all of our lessons are aligned with next generation science standards and Common Core curriculum. And even the pre-K to kindergarten lesson plans, which is a little bit separate than the mainstream that we're doing online, they are aligned with standards as well. And everything is going to be hands-on. So you'll find that there's activities to do with your students or for your students to do within each benchmark that really drive home the concepts that we're trying to teach. Then number three, fostering student leadership, teamwork, and community involvement. So this has always been a number one for me, honestly. Public outreach and public speaking. Again, like I said, students are the ambassadors, so they also need to be able to use their voice. Now, throughout this entire program, the more confidence they gain, the more they're challenged to speak up in the community and to speak up with their peers and to tell them why it's important to save energy and what they're doing within their school and beyond in order to make that happen. And then lastly, we want to build pathways to green jobs. So we will put in activities towards the end of the program regarding green jobs that include inviting people to your school who have green jobs or people who have made their jobs green. I have a list of guest speakers for you that I will be sending to you in a follow-up email to get you started. And if you have any ideas, I would love for you to share those with me, because the more we can empower students with this information, knowing that they have a bright future, doing a green job or a green career, you know, the better our country is going to be, really. Okay, so why care about energy? Well, in my opinion, there are many, many reasons to care about energy, but two of the most important are going to be what's pictured right here. First and foremost, the environment. Of course, if you are involved in this program, it's likely that you are involved in environmental projects and knowing how important it is to save our environment. And then second, we talk a lot about money in the program too, because a lot of times us as grown-ups, we look for tangibles more than students do. Students are very much on a belief path, which is a lot of fun to work with because we can get them started by just really feeling it in their heart. But when we're adults, we look for the tangibles, right? So we're looking on what kind of money are we saving in our energy bill? And normally what we've been able to do in this program in the past since 1996 is we've been able to save schools, large commercial buildings, about 35% on their energy bill just by doing simple behavioral changes within the school and with their Power Save Schools team. And those children are just teaching other children and teaching adults how to do it. So it's pretty incredible what they can do. So why we care about energy, money, and the environment, two big topics. So these This data always seems to astound me. Even though the US only represents 5% of the global population, we consume 25% of the world's energy resources. It's incredible. Yes, we are a large country, but we're also a prosperous country. And with a prosperous country comes a lot of wastage. So that's what we're doing, is we're just wasting a lot of energy, and there are ways to save it. Which we will go through in our benchmarks. We'll go through more deeply. And I don't want people to feel like this is doom and gloom. What I want you to feel like, and what I want your students to feel like, is we have a bright future. We can do this, and we can do it together. And the reason why my umbrella company, the Alliance to Save Energy, started in the first place way back in 1976 is because we realized that energy efficiency is the cheapest, cleanest resource for securing a healthy environment and secure economy. Way back when the oil embargo happened, we didn't know how we were going to get our energy. We didn't know what we were going to do, and we couldn't keep our country stable. Well, this is why we focus on energy efficiency now, because we know that it's going to make for a more secure economy and a healthier environment. As well, we talk about CO2s here and there. I mean, we all know that burning fossil fuels for energy production is the second biggest contributor to global CO2 emissions, which is crazy. And what we do, like I said in another slide, we waste a lot of energy, especially here in the United States. So if we can tighten that up and we can try and save as much energy as possible, therein we release less CO2s into the atmosphere, which of course is going to be good for our environment. Not sure if you knew this, but energy is the second largest budgetary expense after teachers' salaries. So when I say we want to save you an average of 35% on those energy bills, can you imagine what that money can go towards? We had one school that talked about all they did was change the way that they make copies. They had a limited amount of copies that they can make, so it forced them to do more things digitally. And they actually saved over $12,000 in 1 year on their energy bill just from the copy machine alone. So we know that, like I said, simple behavioral changes can make a huge difference, both in appliances and lights and HVAC systems. And we have some incredible programs here in New Jersey to be able to help us do that. In the US, school districts spend about 6 to 8 billion annually on energy, and 30% of that is lost to inefficient buildings or energy waste. So again, I'm going to encourage you to utilize the resources that New Jersey has. We are one of the forerunners in it. Us in California, we're sort of neck and neck when we're talking about being progressive about saving energy. We are second in the nation next to California for putting solar panels on school buildings. That's pretty incredible. So we have a lot of programs out there in the state of New Jersey that do help us to save energy. And I will tell you about those, and I'll keep you informed about those throughout the school year. The biggest energy saving opportunities in a school are the ones that we focus on here at Power Save Schools. These are the ones that we're going after first and foremost, because it's going to give you that biggest chunk of energy saving opportunities. So lighting, heating and air conditioning, and appliances. And you'll see that we have different energy audits for all three, because we really want the students to focus on those things, both inside of the school and in their homes. So what is energy efficiency? It's basically using less energy and doing the same amount of work. And I love this picture because I feel like it displays it really, really well. It kind of talks about going from the right to the left, but we started out at that incandescent bulb, which wasted so much heat energy. If any of you don't know, an incandescent bulb in 5 minutes can heat up to 365 degrees, which is enough to bake a cake. We use that bulb in one of those easy bake ovens. I don't know if any of you had that when you were a kid, but what happens is while we're lighting things, and it's great light we use, all of that heat energy is being released and we're wasting it. And then those bulbs last a shorter amount of time. So what we've done is we've graduated through the years to go up to this LED bulb all the way on the left, which wastes barely any heat energy. It in 5 minutes, it heats up to maybe 78 degrees at the most. So we're not utilizing a whole lot, or I'm sorry, we're not wasting a lot of heat energy there, but we're still lighting a room, and those bulbs last an average of 10 to 15 years. So we have definitely gotten better over the years. Okay, so let's talk about building your Power Save Schools team and what is involved in that. So team roles and responsibilities, I'm going to go over these in some detail. We're going to talk a little bit about custodial and facilities staff, educational professionals, team leads, local project leader, and students, and how we can work together. So first, custodial and facility staff. Well, the reason why we think that you should get these folks involved is because they know the most about what's going on within the school when it comes to energy. They are the ones that change out the light bulbs. They are the ones that are in the rafters, just like this picture is showing. They're the ones who know the intricacies, the day-to-day, the details. And it's important for students and custodial staff and administrative staff to connect, because look, we don't always know all of the things that are involved in the custodial staff in their duties. And it's important for students to know that, because it's much bigger than just mopping a floor. When I was a kid, that was all I thought a custodian was someone who mopped the floor. Now that I'm involved in this program, I see how really, really detailed their jobs are and how important their jobs are. And the students deserve to know that too. And believe it or not, when custodians, facility staff, and students get to work together, so much more can be accomplished. As well, these custodial staff are being recognized in ways that they never dreamed possible, and the students are learning bigger than they ever could know before. Educational professionals. So this is going to be your administrative staff, your other teachers, your library staff, everybody else in the building who's not you, basically, right? So we want to get everybody involved. We believe that once everybody can get involved, you can do much more for the school. And there is a trickle-down theory. Once you can get your principal, your vice principal involved in what your team is doing, more things can happen much quicker. And they're more apt to say yes to more things that the Power Save team wants to do to make a change in the school. So it's important to include them too. Team leader, that's you. That is you are direct contact with me. And you're also a direct contact with the students, with the teachers, and everything. So you hold a huge job, and it's so appreciated. But you are the team leader, which means you get to guide the students. You get to honor them, and you get to honor everybody else in the school by showing them what's important and letting them fly and letting them really, really take it on and be empowered by the information, get confident, and you'll see them grow in ways that I'm sure as a teacher you already know. But wow, those aha moments are certainly incredible. And when it comes in the way of something that's bigger than just what they're doing in front of them, it really affects the entire community. You're going to see how happy and passionate they wind up becoming because of it. And that will be because of your guidance. Then there's the local project leader. That's me. That's another picture of me right there doing a professional development workshop. What I'm holding in my hand, remember that picture? That is the face of our energy hog. I will tell you a little bit more about him in just a few moments. But I am here for you through remote support. I'm available either via email, phone, or text. I will be leading all teacher workshops. So that's the professional development workshop, the mid-year meeting, and the end-of-year meeting. As well, if you need me for anything else, like coming in and teaching a lesson to your students or whatever, I'm here. I will be doing the energy hog assemblies, anything like that. And again, I'll talk about that a little bit more. But yes, I'm your direct contact, and I'm the person who, if you have any questions, you ask me. At the end, I will be giving you my personal contact information, my cell phone number. Most people kind of gawk at that and say, why the heck would you do that? But it's because I care about what you're doing, and I want to make sure that I'm always at the ready for your phone call. So it's not just another business phone. This is actually my personal cell phone that I will be giving you at the end of this meeting. And then, of course, the students, oh my gosh, how could we possibly ever forget them? They are the most special part of this entire thing. They are, again, the ambassadors for everything, the ones that get excited, the ones that spread the message, the ones that show the passion. And so we want to guide them. We want to honor them. I like using that word because I feel like when we teach, we do honor our children, which is incredible. And they get to be a part of everything. So part of this program this year, we're taking on this new empowered platform, which is our online platform, and walk you through it in just a few minutes. And what that does is that puts the power in the students' hands more than ever before. And it sort of gives you the opportunity to be a little more hands-off, which means that the students get the opportunity to expand their minds in huge ways and just play with what their thoughts are. You know, I always find that students really think more outside of the box than I ever could, and probably than I ever will. And so this new Empower platform really gives them the opportunity to be able to do that. Okay, as a thank you, because we are grateful for what you're doing, we know, because some of us are teachers, we know that anything extra on a teacher's plate is something extra on a teacher's plate. And so we want to show you appreciation for that, a token of gratitude. So we're giving you a stipend for this year, and this is what it will look like. First and second year teams will receive $500. Third and fourth year teams will receive $250, and fifth year teams will receive $100. Now you can do whatever you want with that money. That money is yours. What I will ask for, and I will write in my follow-up email, is who do you want those checks made out to? Do you want them made out to the school so you can put them right back into the budget, or do you want them made out directly to you? In which case, that is fine too, because you deserve it. It's going to be not a lot of work, but it's going to be work, and it's going to be stuff that you'll really gain from, but at the same time, like I said, it's something extra. So we appreciate you, and we want you to know that. Now, half of this will be distributed at the mid-year meeting, and half will be distributed at the end of the year celebration. If you do have more than one teacher involved as a team lead, that's fine too. What will happen is this stipend will be split between you if that's what you prefer. Otherwise, if you prefer go to one person or to a team, you're welcome to tell us that as well. So I will write that in my follow-up email so that we know who you want these checks made out to. Okay, so let's talk quickly about the roadmap guides. The reason we have two on here, the pre-K is pretty separate than everything else right now. From 3rd grade to 12th grade, that is where our online material comes from. We do have a little bit of gap between 1st and 2nd grade right now. So what we did is we're asking you to scaffold up from the pre-K to kindergarten, or scaffold down from the 3 to 5 program. I only put the roadmap guide for the 6th through 8th grade on here because it's all the same from 3rd through 5th to 9th through 12th. It's going to look the exact same no matter what. The big difference is that pre-K, and you can see the difference here. First of all, the purples are all going to be the same. Those are the actual workshops, the professional development workshop, the mid-year recharge, and the end of year celebration. Those are the meetings that we like to come together for. If you can't make them, we can always do these webinars, and I can send you a recording. That is absolutely fine. But we like to pull people together because it's really good to know who else is out there to help you. People who have been in the program for 5 years might have different ideas than people who have been in the program for a year or two. And we want everybody to share ideas. Plus, fresh perspective is really, really important always. So that's why we like to pull together for these meetings. So if you can make the face-to-face, I really encourage it. Plus, it's a lot of fun, and you get fed. So, don't rule that out either. For pre-K, what we do is we ask questions to the students because we know that they crave answering questions. I have a 5-year-old myself, so I built this pre-K program with him in mind, and I tested everything out on him, and he loves all of the activities. It is very, very hands-on, very little speaking, but the lessons are in the hands-on materials. So we do things like what is sustainability, what is energy, what uses energy, and we go at a slower pace. Which of course is what pre-K needs, and they need from the bottom up basics. Then when we go on through the 3rd through 12th grade roadmap guide, which is on the right, we start with energy basics. Then we go through our energy audit, our energy patrol contest, our holiday shutdown. So those are those core benchmarks that we're looking at. And then after the mid-year meeting, understanding energy demand, watts and water, explore renewables. We'll talk about those at the mid-year meeting. So right now, let's just get through the first couple. This is going to be our new online platform. That is the URL address, nj.empoweredschools.org. I will again be sending this follow-up email with this attached so that you can check to make sure you can get into it in your school. What we're doing now is if you have Clever, if your school uses Clever, there's going to be an automatic rostering system that happens. If your school does not use Clever, I need you to let me know so that we can figure out how to integrate with Clever, or we can do a manual rostering system. So please make sure that you email me that information. I will ask you that again on the follow-up email because we do need to know that as soon as possible to be able to get you started. Okay, so first and foremost, when your students log in, they're going to see a welcome benchmark. The welcome benchmark will have a video which teaches them how to walk through this online portal. So the website instructions are all going to be on there for them, and then they're going to have a pre-survey. The pre-survey, and then there's going to be a post-survey, of course, at the end when we're wrapping everything up for those final presentations. As well, on the welcome benchmark, there's going to be a spot where they can fill in their t-shirt size because we do like to give out t-shirts to all of our teams. And then there's going to be talent waivers, which are basically, can your student be photographed? And we ask you to keep those as the teacher and keep track of them because they are going to be, number one, parent signed, but as well, I don't know your students, so how am I going to know if you send me a picture with this student on it who's not allowed to be photographed, and then I use it in social media or whatever? It's not going to be a good thing. So basically what I need for you to do is hold on to those talent waivers, make sure you're keeping track of which students you're taking pictures of, so that you send me pictures that can be used by the Alliance to Save Energy through social media or whatever else we decide to use them for. Only send pictures that we can actually use. Okay, so the Energy Basics benchmark, there is a video. Pretty much every benchmark that you go through, I shouldn't say pretty much every, I should say most benchmarks that you go through is going to have a video and a quiz. The quiz is taken directly from the verbiage in the video, so we do set it up purposefully so that they have to take the quiz immediately after they watch the video, just to get it out of the way. The quizzes are usually about 5 to 10 questions, depending on the grade band. The video is about 5 to 10 minutes. Then there's always follow-up activities. You're going to find that there's usually one mandatory or required activity and the rest are optional. Now with these activities comes points. There's a point system. So the students, the more activities they do, the more points they gain. And the reason why they want to gain points is because at the end of all of this, your school is competing with all of the other schools in the state of New Jersey for a grade band pizza party. So what that means is if your students are a 3rd through 5th grade set of students, and that's what your school is, 3rd through 5th grade or whatever, you're basically looking at a pizza party for all of your 3rd through 5th grade students if your team wins the entire contest. And I'll show you when we get to that point in the professional development workshop, I will show you a picture of the leaderboard so that your students and you can tell where you are at any given time. So you are competing for a school pizza party, basically. Okay, so some of the follow-up activities in the Energy Basics benchmark are, first and foremost, a staff meeting presentation, script, and pledge. So we want your students to get started on those soft skills as soon as possible, which means we want them to give a presentation to the staff members at your school. So we have included the PowerPoint that they can use, as well as a script if they decide they want to use it. If they decide, to make their own, if they decide to make their own script, that's fine too. Some students really enjoy speaking off the cuff or making up a different type of script, but we provide it for them just in case they don't feel comfortable doing that. As well, one of the things that your students get to ask staff for is a pledge saying, I want to help, I want to be involved, I understand what our Power Save School team is trying to do, and I want to be a part of it too. So it gives a couple pointers. Right on the right is what the pledge looks like. It gives pointers on what the energy saving practices are going to look like. As well, it's going to give permission for these students to eventually come into their classroom or their office and do an energy audit to make sure that they've got right lighting, or they know what right lighting looks like, or they are closing doors, or things like that. So it gives teachers and staff the opportunity to check off what time is a good time for these students to come in and do those energy audits. And we suggest that they give out this information at the staff meeting, and or they can always put this pledge into teachers' mailboxes for teachers who have missed the meeting. And with that, I always suggest, if you're going to put something in a teacher's mailbox, you put a little piece of candy on it. It kind of makes it where the teacher wants to look at it a little bit more. So if teachers miss the meeting, put this in their mailbox, put a little piece of candy on it, and it'll be sure to get attention. Okay, so the next follow-up activity, which is an optional activity, is the custodial staff script and pledge. Again, this is how your students are talking, using those soft skills with custodial staff this time. So we have provided a script for them. If they choose to talk off the cuff, that's okay. If they decide they want to use that PowerPoint presentation, they're welcome to do that as well. And then this is going to be the custodial staff pledge. And it's going to say, this is what our Power Save Schools team is trying to do. Will you help us? And then the custodial staff gets to sign off saying, yes, I want to be a part of this, and I want to help these students. And these students are also in turn going to be helping me with my job. So one of the other really great ideas for the custodial staff to do, either during this time or maybe during the Green Careers portion, which is later in the program, is have that custodian come to the Power Save Schools meeting or class one day and teach them about what is his job, what exactly does he do in the school, and how intricate and detailed is it, and all of the things that the students don't know. So that might be a really good Green Career speaker opportunity, is having the custodial staff come in or the head custodian come in and speak to the students about what they do. Another optional activity is a poster campaign throughout the school. So this, again, is just to introduce, we are the Power Save Schools team, and this is what we're trying to do. Now, I have had schools do this several different ways. Any of these activities, customize to your school. Any of the benchmarks, customize it to your school. Do what works best for you. So one year I had a school who decided to do their poster campaign and make it a trivia contest, which is super fun. So their Power Save Schools team made 5 or 6 different posters and put them in like near the main classroom where the Power Save Schools team met. They shot a little video saying, this is our trivia contest, and each classroom should come out and do this contest, this trivia contest based on these posters. And if you win, you get a donut party. Now, just an extra tidbit, Power Save Schools will help you pay for any kind of extras that you decide to give out if you do contests. So donut parties, gift certificates, whatever, just talk to me ahead of time and we can go ahead and get it approved and get that paid for, because we want the entire school involved. So we want you to give out prizes. So please do that. So I digress. Getting back to this trivia contest. So they did have a winner. There was 2 classrooms who tied rather, and they were both given a donut party, which was incredible. And it really, really got a lot of the students kick-started and involved in the program. Other poster campaigns that they've done in some of the schools that I have hosted are they made the poster campaign throughout the school, and they said, okay, we're going to make this contest. Let's see which classroom can come up with the best poster that talks about energy saving. And once the classroom was chosen, the first and second and third place classrooms, they gave them prizes. One was a donut party, one was a gift certificate for them to get whatever they wanted, and I think another one was like little trinkets. I think they were like pencils or something. So again, we help with that stuff, with those extra expenses. Or you can just do a poster campaign where your students make posters your PowerSafe students, and they're reminder posters like, this is what we're doing, and this is why. For instance, this one, light bulbs can save energy. So even posting those throughout the school, it really is just a great eye-opener for students. Okay, so now one of the other optional activities is an assembly announcement. So we encourage students to go into classrooms or host an assembly themselves and talk about what the PowerSave Schools Empowered team is doing. And we provide a script. However, if you have some drama students who want to join in, we can always send you the Energy Hog costume for students, which is a funky little hat with a pig nose, and just it's a really cute costume. And they can do something with the energy hog. They can talk about saving energy and why you don't want to be an energy hog. They can make up their own thing. We do provide a script, but we encourage them to be creative. So however they want to do an assembly announcement. Again, this is an optional activity, so they don't even have to do it, but the more points, the better. And then there's a slot for other activities. So one of this pictured here is our Osborneville PowerSave Schools team last year doing back to school nights. So I know your back to school nights are probably over at this point in the game. But what we do is for back to school nights, or for any other night that you're having within your school where there's going to be a number of homeowners there, your utility company, South Jersey Gas or New Jersey Natural Gas, they will provide materials to put out on the table like you see here. And we ask that, that the PowerSave Schools team get to show off as well. They have really great t-shirts, these beautiful green t-shirts that they get to wear, and they get to talk about why it's important to them to save energy or what they're doing. Now, the reason why we ask the different utility companies to give you the paraphernalia to put out is because this is a way for them to be able to reach homeowners that they might not be able to reach on a day-to-day basis. So normally what happens is these homeowners would have to either come out to an event to receive this information, or they'd have to check the website. Not everybody does those two things because they're busy with their everyday lives. So this gives these utility companies an opportunity to get the word out of what their incentives are, their rewards are for homeowners, as well what is offered for lower income housing in the way of energy reduction or rebates or whatever. So this is a way for them to get the word out, as well it's a way for your team to show off. So some people are doing it for back to school nights, some people did it for back to school nights, some are doing it for their grandparents' nights, some are doing it for their parent-teacher conferences, and you can gain points for whatever you decide to do. All you have to do in this case is let me know the date of the event, where they can ship the materials to, and how many people are expected to come. We'll get those out to you. You take pictures, you upload them to the online website, and boom, you're done. And you've got extra points, which is incredible. Plus, your team got to practice those soft skills one more time. So ask me about that if you have any questions. Okay, next is going to be the energy audit benchmark. This is one of my favorite things because this allows students to really deal with real world tools and make some big decisions that they're not used to making. Okay, so in that, we do have a toolkit. And if you have not received a toolkit yet, you will be receiving a toolkit. I will either be shipping it out to you if you're far away from where I live, or I will be bringing it to your school as soon as I make them up between this week and next week. And your toolkit includes things like a foot candle meter. I have to plug in my, there we go. Okay, sorry, it just kind of, I know the screen just brightened up because I had to plug it in. It looked like it was dying. Okay, so a foot candle meter, which is on the left side. You're going to have a really cool tool bag to put them all in. You're going to get a couple of water testing. So there's a drip water testing bags and water testing drip gauges. You're going to get a temperature gun, a watts meter. There's going to be a lot of really, really fun stuff involved in your toolkit. And I will be sending out a list to tell you what is either going to be in there, or if you are a current school and you already have a toolkit, this list will allow you to check your toolkit and make sure you have all of the tools involved. But your students get to use these tools. That is the greatest part. They get to put their hands on these tools, walk around the school, and do their audits. Okay, so One of the follow-up activities, which is the required activity, is the lighting audit. The lighting audit is going to use the foot candle meter. Now, this foot candle meter that's pictured are our old foot candle meters. We do have new ones this year that are orange. They're really cool, a different type of digital. They have a hold button and everything, but they're very simple to use, and there are instruction books. If you do have questions, you are always welcome to call me and I can walk you through that. So these lighting audits are based on suggested lighting levels. That's what this foot candle is going to measure. Before I begin telling you about suggested lighting levels, I want to tell you the difference between foot candles and lumens. So some people have been getting confused in the past. So we are measuring foot candles. Foot candles are the amount of light that we receive on any surface. So let's say your student is working on a desk. That foot candle should be measured on the desk because that is the amount of light that they are receiving on that desk. And that is what we're looking for. We're not looking for the amount of light they're receiving on a wall because nobody really works on a wall. People work on a desk. So we want to do any working surface. A lumen is going to be how much light is coming out of that light bulb at the time when it's turned on. So that's directly at the light bulb. We don't care about that either because none of us has our face in a light bulb when we're working. So what we're measuring again is foot candles. That's the amount of light that falls onto a surface. So with that, the suggested lighting levels have been determined by the IES, or the Illuminating Engineering Society. And this is a company, a society that they came together and they literally went through every single room that you could think of in a home or in a commercial building, and they talked about what is the appropriate lighting level for people to get work done or whatever is supposed to be done in this particular room. So what that means is the lighting level for a classroom is going to be different than the lighting level in a science lab because in a science lab, you need to see a different type of detail. So you'll want more lights on. You'll want a higher foot candle reading. In a classroom, students are going to be writing on their desk. They do need light, but they don't need as much light as they would in a science lab. And so on and so forth. In an auditorium, you're not going to need as much light as you do in a classroom because you're usually not taking notes in an auditorium or in a gym. Well, a gym is the same as a classroom, so I'm correcting myself. But a gym might need a higher foot candle reading if, say, there's a volleyball game happening and a referee needs to see what's going on. You're going to want those lighting levels at the higher end if that's the case. But when you're just having gym class, you don't need to see as much detail. So you can go on the lower end of the spectrum if you want to. And so on and so forth, you can see what it looks like. Now, the reason we have this chart here is because these are most of the rooms that we see in any given school. If there's an extra room that we have not included on here, like everybody always asks about a library, we can always look that up in the Illuminating Engineering Society in their webpage. They have very easy access and it's very easy to manipulate their webpage. You can just find any information out there. But usually it'll be the same as a classroom, maybe on the higher end of the spectrum at 50 foot candles rather than 30 because they're going to be reading differently. So with that, we ask the students to go into their classroom first and test the lighting levels and see what would be right lighting for that classroom. Now, one of the reasons we want to find right lighting is, of course, because we don't want to waste energy. So if we stay around the foot candle level that this chart is suggesting, we're going to be saving a good amount of energy. However, in that, we also want to be comfortable, right? So comfort and saving energy are first and foremost. Now, there are a lot of physiological things that happen when it comes to light, when it comes to air quality and things like that. Students if there's too much lighting in a room, students can tend to be agitated, have anxiety, their blood pressure can go up. There's different things that can happen, like I said, physiologically. They can have headaches. If the lighting level is too low in a room, they could fall asleep. They could get headaches again. And there's so many other things that can happen. And one of our schools who worked on a little bit of that last year, they started to find how interesting it is, especially for students who are challenged, who need the extra help in one way or another, or students who are disabled in some way, how important lighting levels are for their rooms too, especially for their rooms, because it affects everything, affects them: food intake, air quality, lighting levels. So it's really important to get these lighting levels as spot on as you can to make sure that the teachers get optimal or are able to perform optimally, and the students are able to perform optimally. As well, any office workers, we want them to be able to have their best lighting as well. So the students get to go through this lighting audit worksheet, and we do have on the website, we've uploaded a completed one so that students see what it looks like completed. And then we have a blank one for them to print out so they can go through the classroom and learn what they're doing. They'll use this foot candle meter, and they'll basically go through and play with the lights and see what looks good. Now, when they take a foot candle meter reading, again, they're only going to want to go on the surface of things, on the things that they actually are working on, because that's where the foot candle reading matters. So on desks, if they do work on a floor in a certain area, you want to take a foot candle reading there. But they're going to take foot candle readings in 3 different places with different lights on or off, and the same places each time in the room for each light setting. And then they'll find the average, and this way they can find what will be the appropriate lighting level. Is it already an appropriate lighting level? And they have the opportunity to do it with all of the light switches on, all of the light switches off, and then playing with the light switches. So if you have 3 light switches in your room, first what they'll do is they'll keep the first light switch on, the second 2 off, and they'll do their foot candle readings in the same parts of the room. Then they'll turn that first switch off, maybe turn the second switch on and have the third switch off, and they'll do their foot candle readings, and so on and so forth until they go through all of the different ways the light switches can be turned on, and they find out which is the best way for that classroom. Okay, and then, let me go back really quick. And then there's also a back page to the lighting audit, which allows them to map out the room. And the reason why they do that is because we want your students to utilize the windows, because those windows are natural light. And what if you can actually turn off one of the light switches, maybe rearrange the room a little bit so that some students are sitting near that natural light, keep those blinds open, and actually have bright lighting in the rest of the room as well. So it's important to be able to utilize that natural light to see where all of the desks are situated, and maybe it can be situated different to utilize more natural light. As well, on the back, there's going to be a place where it talks about what types of lights are in the room, how many, what's the wattage, and this is all data that the students get to collect so that they can eventually form data-related information for the principal. And, oh, I'm sorry, my dog is barking in the background. Data-related information for the principal so that they can therein make the changes that they need to make if they're bigger than just at the classroom level. Okay, so appliance audit is next. You're going to be using the watts meter, which is in the right-hand corner up there. And the appliance audit sheet, this is really interesting information to know. We do have the same appliances pretty much in every single one of our classrooms. So they only need to take these measurements once in one classroom. The lighting audit, they'll have to go eventually into each of the classrooms that are participating in the audit. And remember, that comes from that original teacher's pledge. But they'll have to go into all of the classrooms and do the lighting to see what would be the right lighting for that particular room. With the audit sheet, they only have to look at it once and say, this is the information. Can the appliance be turned off? How many watts is it using? There's also something called a phantom load, which means when you think it's turned off, it's still sucking energy. So can it be turned off eventually? That will be on one room, but then when they actually audit all of the different rooms, on the back of that appliance audit worksheet is going to be what you see on the right, where it says, what's the room number, what's the teacher's name, what is the type of appliance, and how many are there. That's going to be their quick check, and then they can come back and cross-reference it with this original master sheet to find out how much energy are they using through appliances and where can they save energy. Then there's the HVAC audit. And what this utilizes is that temperature gauge that's pictured in the top right-hand corner. And what they're going to do is they're going to find the temperature of the room to see if it's at an appropriate temperature. Now, this winds up becoming interesting because sometimes there's no control. over the HVAC system. Sometimes it's district controlled, sometimes it's classroom controlled, sometimes it's school controlled. So this is a really good thing to look into with your students, because they need to know, and the classroom teacher needs to know, is it too cold in here? Is it too hot in here during certain times of year? The DEP recommends about 68 degrees during cooler months and 78 degrees during warmer months. That's going to save the maximum amount of energy. Now, there is a range there. Just know, basic rule of thumb, your room or your house should be cooler in cooler months to save the most energy. It makes sense. 65 to 68 degrees. During warmer months like summer, 75 to 78 degrees is about the range, and that will save the most amount of energy. Now, also consider that you want to make sure that the teachers and the students are comfortable first and foremost. So, that might go beyond what the temperature recommendations are. So, and that's okay, but this is just to find out what would be the way to maximize the energy usage and to keep it right. Now, also, this is going to help the students to figure out if it's something crazy, like it's way too cold in a room. We have a story about a teacher, she was a librarian, and she worked in the library for 10 years before students actually did an HVAC audit. And she was freezing for 10 years of her life. And when they walked in, she always was wearing a giant scarf over her head, and she was wearing like a jacket and everything. And so they went in and they asked her, is this the temperature that you like? Because, of course, first and foremost, it's about comfort. And she said, no, my God, I hate it. It is too cold in here, and I've been working in this for 10 years, and I can't stand it. So they went ahead and they did their HVAC audit, and what they found was, number one, it was way too cold, but number two, in the back room where the thermostat was, the laminator was plugged in and running right next to that thermostat, which meant that it was constantly pushing out heat onto that thermostat. So the thermostat was thinking that it was much warmer than it actually was in the library. So all the students did was move the laminator over away from that thermostat, and all of a sudden the temperature adjusted properly, and the librarian was so grateful because it wasn't freezing anymore. Now she could set it at the appropriate temperature, and they saved a lot of money on their energy bill. Okay, and then the next step would be the school-wide audit. So it's all of these forms in one, and this is where they get to go out into the different classrooms and rooms in the school and do those same audits. Again, with the appliance audit, you only have to do the master sheet once. All they're doing is ticking off on back page to find out what is the appliance and how many appliances are in there, and then they can come back and do their assessment. Then comes the Energy Patrol Contest, and this is for all of the classrooms and rooms that participated in the school-wide energy audit. So again, that comes from that original pledge when they spoke to the teachers and staff. Okay, there is not going to be a video, there is not going to be a quiz, but there are going to be a bunch of really cool follow-up activities. So what happens with the Energy Patrol Contest is now it becomes, okay, we have officially told you what are the best lighting levels for the room. You can see on the right-hand side of this page, it's the classroom handout. And so this is where the students have come back with all of the audit information, and they've put it on paper for these teachers and for these staff members. And they say, what is the right lighting level for your room? What did we record in your room? What should it look like? Is there a light switch cover that, and they have like, there's printout light switch covers that speak to which light switches should be turned on and which shouldn't. And you'll see that during the lighting audit. They're going to talk about what's the best setting for their HVAC. What is it set at now? What does the appliance audit look like? It's going to be one full sheet that says Energy Patrol Contest Classroom Handout. And you're going to give that out to them along with the page on the left that says basically, hey, thanks for letting us come in. And this is what the Energy Patrol Contest is going to look like. You're going to get points for what you do on a continuous basis for the Energy Patrol Contest. I apologize for the background noise. I have my son yelling at my dog right now, which is super fun. I digress. Anyway, so we'll talk about how many points are going to be for each individual thing. And then below is going to be the Energy Patrol Tracker. And what that is over a given course of time. So usually students will do this for a week, a month. It just depends on your particular school and how they choose to. And what they're going to be doing is they're going to be going into each of these rooms again, and they're going to be checking, are the teachers or the staff doing what we recommended on that Energy Patrol Contest classroom handout? So basically, are they following what we suggested they do? And that's how this Energy Patrol tracker works, is just, are they doing what they need to do over a certain amount of time? And there are winners at the end. We want to reward these classrooms with, like I said, a donut party or little trinkets or something. And ask me about that, because I will provide money for those things. And throughout the Energy Patrol contest, we have another follow-up activity for Energy Star classrooms. Now, what I like to tell people to do is every time they go and do their check for that Energy Patrol contest, if that classroom or that room is doing a phenomenal job and keeping up with what they're supposed to be keeping up with, or what they've suggested to keep up with, put a star on their door. Make sure that they're recognized. And for the times when they're not doing all of the things that they are expected to do, don't give them a star. So then the teacher can see they're accumulating these stars over this amount of time. Maybe it's a month, and they're really like the stars of the show over there, right? Like, look at these stars on this classroom door. If a teacher comes in and students come in every day and they see that, it's also motivation. It's telling them, hey, you know, you're doing a great job, keep it up, right? Now, some people like to shame their neighbors, which I don't always say is a good thing, but if, for instance, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing on a given day to save the most amount of energy, you can always print out an energy hog, which is our mascot, and you can put that up there as a, oh, you didn't do what needed to be done today, or put a different color star maybe, just to show them that they're not exactly on track. I don't always suggest that, because I like positive reinforcement, but you and your students get to decide how you want to do that. Okay, and then another follow-up activity is the intercom announcement. So this would be throughout the entire time that that you're doing the Energy Patrol contest. You would also be doing intercom announcements. So you can do it maybe once a week if you're doing it for a month-long thing, where one of the students gets to talk on the intercom and say, okay, this is the contest we're doing, and this is who's in the lead, and here's who's running a close second, and da-da-da-da-da, so on and so forth, and keep everybody in the school in the loop, because the more it's put out onto the intercom announcements, the more fun it is for people, and the more people can be congratulated for what they're doing, or the more they're going to work harder in order to get to that top slot, because you know we all love competition. But yeah, intercom announcement, that is a fun one, and that is an optional follow-up activity, but I definitely suggest allowing your students to do that. And the next piece of the Energy Patrol contest, when all is said and done, this should be coming around your Thanksgiving break. If it continues through your after your Thanksgiving break, that's okay too. Just the timeline will give us through the Thanksgiving break to do the Energy Patrol contest. But again, don't worry if it takes longer. If you find that something is taking longer than what the timeline is allowing, which you'll see on the online platform, it's going to be like a countdown clock. Just let me know. I can always extend that. What the clock is for is we want to try and keep everybody at pace as much as we possibly can to get through all of the benchmarks in the year. But if something's not working for you and you're like, I need a little more time, all you have to do is call me or email me and I can reset that clock for you. So don't feel like it's an all or nothing sort of thing, okay? And if the time clock runs out and all of your information gets submitted and you realize the next day, oh my gosh, it got submitted and I wasn't ready, that's okay too. Just let me know and I can release it back to you. So it's all manipulatable. I don't know if that's a word, but I just made it up. Anyway, the Thanksgiving shutdown checklist. This is something that during each of the breaks, the big breaks, Thanksgiving, winter break, spring break, and summer break, you have a really great opportunity to save a lot of energy throughout the school, because there's nobody in the school at that time. Nobody's there during breaks, or not there all the time, rather. So we have provided these shutdown checklists. Now for each of the breaks, it looks the same. Because these are for the teachers. And all that's included in this follow-up activity is your students cut these out, they attach a piece of candy and throw it into the teachers' mailboxes. And this gives the teachers the opportunity to to do the things that are on the list, like I said, to save energy over the winter break. And it's a very short checklist, and they don't have to do every single one of them if they can't, but it just gives them, hey, these are just simple behavioral changes that you can make over the break. Okay, and then the fourth benchmark is the winter holiday shutdown. So it looks exactly like the Thanksgiving shutdown. This is sort of an easy points benchmark for your students because there's literally only one activity. There's no quiz, there's no video. All they have to do is print these out, cut them, and put a little piece of candy and then throw them into the teacher mailboxes. And this is for the winter break. You'll find that all of these energy shutdown checklists look the same, like I said. Okay, so now let's go a little bit into the online portal. Now I'm going to show you pictures. We are not live yet, but we are looking to be live in about a week or so. And I will be emailing each of you when we're ready to launch, and then you can start the program officially online. But I want to tell you a little bit about it, and we took some screenshots so I can show you. Now, I already spoke to you a little bit about the power of competition, that everything gathers points that these students are going to be doing. And the reason we do that is because, again, your school will be competing with the entire state of New Jersey schools that are involved in the Power Save Schools program. That's 77 schools total to, at the end of all of this, receive a pizza party for your school, for your entire school, which is just incredible. So it is a big competition. We encourage you to do as many of the activities as possible. If you find that there's an activity that your students come up with that we didn't, that could be as an other slot in one of these benchmarks, please let me know. I will put an other slot and into one of the benchmarks, and then you know, we have more ideas for more people to do, or yours can be a special idea that just your school does to gain more points. But yeah, if there's something extra that they want to do, don't hesitate to tell me, because any extra information we get is better for everybody, because then there's just more activities and more fun things that these students get to do. So this is what the leaderboard looks like when you're trying to figure out where your team is in the scheme of things. You're going to notice on the left-hand side, it's going to talk specifically to your school. This is going to be on the top of the page. If you can see my mouse, this little looks like a speedometer. This is what you would click on, the speedometer, in order to get to this page where the leaderboard is. And your students have access to this too, okay? But they're going to see their benchmark progress, so how far along in the program are they? And then as well on the right-hand side, they're going to see what is their ranking right now. So how many points do they have as compared to other schools? On the top portion, it's going to show who the top 3 schools are and what their points are. And then on the bottom portion, it's going to show where your school is in the mix and what the points are. And so basically you can tell the students, okay, we need to get some extra activities in there so that we get some extra points, or we're doing just fine, or however that looks. Now, one of the really cool things that we love about this is there's constant gratification. So every time you go through a benchmark and you hit submit, and let me digress for a minute and tell you. So I think it might be on the next slide, but that's okay, I'll get started now. Your students will be collecting the information, will be uploading pictures, will be uploading documentation. They will save everything they do, and it will come to you first, okay? So that you can take a look at everything and make sure that it's in the order that it should be, or that there's no like smart aleck kid typing in something crazy that you don't want submitted to me or whatever. And you can take away and add to it as you wish, but everything is submitted to you first once they hit save. Once you are ready to submit that benchmark on behalf of your students, because all of it is done, you'll hit the submit button, and then you'll be receiving down here one of these little trophies. And these trophies will just be a reward on the computer that basically says, oh wow, you have done one of the 10 activities and we're giving you a bronze. So if you do at least one activity, you get a bronze trophy, and it comes at you. You can show it to all of your students while it's happening after you hit submit. And it's just going to be like a congratulations, you've turned in this one activity and we're so excited. If you've done more than one activity, you're going to receive a silver. okay? And that's going to come at you on the screen. And if you've done all of them, if you've done every activity that's in the benchmark, you'll receive a gold. And that's just our way of thanking you along the way, and super fun for the students. It's a little cheesy, but I think it's great. So I think your students will too. Then, so now we're showing you the teacher admin access, but you're going to see that the student program looks almost the same. The only difference between the teacher admin access and the student access is the teacher has the ability to submit everything to me, as opposed to the students. The students basically submit to the teacher submits to me. So nothing is finalized until it goes through the teacher. As well, the teachers have access to all of the teacher training activities. So the professional development workshop meeting, the PowerPoint presentations, they'll all be uploaded so that you have access to them all year round if you need to go back. But the students information looks more like what's down here, okay, where it says program benchmarks. This is going to be on the tab that's where the little house is, that home screen. And what it's going to do, it's going to have that welcome benchmark first, and you'll go ahead and review it. That's where the video is that talks about how do you walk through this portal. And then as well, it's going to have a carousel underneath where you can scroll one way or the other. You have access to all of the benchmarks at once. There is going to be a time clock on the top for the students that talks about how much time do they have to complete benchmark 1, benchmark 2, and it will count down. Again, if your students don't complete it or you have more work to do on it and the time clock is run out, it will automatically submit to me, but I can release it. You just have to be in contact with me and let me know. You can also jump ahead. So this is the number 1 energy basics benchmark. All they'll do is click into there and it'll have a listing of all of the activities and the survey and all of the different things that are on there. Now, before anything will unlock, everything will be locked when they first get in there. They have to watch the video first and take the survey first in order for any of the activities to be unlocked and to be performed. So there is a basis that they have before they actually move on to do any of the activities. Nothing will unlock until they give in that survey, okay? But the reason why I was saying they could jump ahead is because let's say you have a speaker come in, or like I said before, your custodial staff talk to your Power Save Schools team. You can scroll all the way forward to the benchmark that's called Green Careers, and you can upload that information way, way far in advance if you have that happen. However, you don't need to do that either. You can hold out for it if you want to, but you'll have access to all of the benchmarks at once. Once you've submitted it to me, then it's closed out and you don't have access to it anymore. Okay, so you want to make sure that as the teacher, you're checking everything that the students save and you're submitting it when you're ready. Again, I can always release it, but only submit it when you're ready if you can. Okay, and then also on the teacher's page, this is not going to be located on the student's page. You're going to have access to the benchmark breakdown, okay? And what that means is you're going to see your students. We put them in however they're going to be rostered in the system. So most of the rostering is going to look like your last name and a number, and that will be assigned to each student. So we'll give you numbers 1 through 99, your last name. So my last name is Rotora, so it would be Rotora 1, Rotora 2, Rotora 3, and you'll be assigning these to your students. We don't put any student information online because just in case somebody hacks our system, we're not going to take that chance. We don't want them to know what students are in your school and breach that. So we try to keep it as simple as possible. So it's going to show their quiz scores. It's going to show the student activity contribution, what they've done. And what this will also do is this tracks what they've turned in. So when I was speaking earlier about that smart Alex student who turns in like, I just put my finger in a hole, and that's what he turns into, you'll be able to see which student did that, okay, based on whether they're student 1, student 2, student 3. And then you can view their quiz results from here. Up here, you're going to see all of the different activities. That part is also on the student page. It'll show how many points each of the activities is worth. It'll show you if it's completed, and it'll ask you to start activities that haven't been completed yet. Then there's always this tab down here that tells you, okay, let's go back home, and it'll take you back to this board right here. And on both the student and teacher page, this is part of the page where they're going to turn in their activities. So once you click into the activity, it's going to give a description of what the activity is. It's going to give some past examples that you can upload. It's going to give whatever materials are needed that can be uploaded so that the students can view and use. And then they're going to have the opportunity to, up here, this box that you can't see, they type in what was the activity exactly that they did, or what did they do within that activity. It's going to give them the opportunity to put in who are the individuals who worked on this project, and they can tag their other students. The number of people directly involved, which would be probably your students, the number of people indirectly involved, which would be the other people other than your students. So how many people did they affect, essentially? And then any activity uploads. We encourage pictures, we encourage videos, we encourage write-ups. So this is where the students will put all of their information. And then the students will have a save button here. So they'll hit save and it'll go to you, so you can see all of the information. You will have a submit button. So once all of their information is compiled and you figure out what you want it to look like, you hit submit and it comes to me. Okay, so now we're ending it out now. Teacher next steps. So what we need first and foremost is for you to recruit your PowerSave Schools team, whether that be students who are currently in your class on a day-to-day, whether that be an after-school team or a lunch meeting team. You get to start recruiting your PowerSave Schools team, and the more the merrier. We're going to hand out these shirts, so once you get those all ready, you can either have your students fill out that shirt box online in their welcome benchmark, or you can email me what your t-shirt order is. T-shirts do come in youth sizes as well as adult sizes, and for the pre-K through kindergarten crew, we have capes, not t-shirts. So basically you'll just need to turn in how many capes will you need if you're pre-K to kindergarten. And then for the rest, it would be the specific t-shirt orders for your students. And we want staff to have these t-shirts too. So whatever staff is involved on the team, if it's custodial staff, if there's a principal involved, if there's another team lead, tell us their order too on what t-shirt they want, because we want unity here and we want to show that everybody is involved. I did skip ahead, sorry about that. We also need to distribute those talent waivers as soon as possible, because the sooner you can start taking pictures of these students, the better. They're going to be doing stuff. They're going to be enjoying it. And we want to make sure that the only students who are pictured in these pictures that are sent to me are students who are allowed to be photographed. Then I want you to set up an Energy Hog assembly. So I'll talk a little bit about that. The Energy Hog, and you can go to energyhog.org to see more information. That is our mascot. He is a creepy creature who likes to go around to places, to schools, to homes, and he loves it when people waste energy. And so he is a very tall creature. You saw his head with the sunglasses. He's got a leather jacket and a chain. And the leather jacket says Energy Hogs Rule. So basically, he makes fun of me all the time in this Energy Hog assembly because I like to save energy and I'm trying to teach students how to save energy. And he's trying to teach students how to waste energy. So we have an Energy Hog assembly that we offer for students who are anywhere between 1st and 12th grade, because the younger students we find are terrified of this guy. He is big. I have had students leave and cry who are younger, who couldn't handle it. So what we offer for the younger students is Elliot the Energy Saving Piggy. He is a puppet that I use. I come in, or I can send the puppet to you along with the script, and I read a book to them. And it's called The 3 Little Energy Saving Wolves and the Big Bad Energy Hog. And it talks about how important it is to save energy, and how this cute little piggy was once this big bad energy hog who loved to waste energy, and he tried to make these little energy saving wolves waste energy, but because they wouldn't, he wound up getting smaller and smaller, and his energy was taken away until he finally turned into a cute little pig. He went wee, wee, wee all the way home, and he realized he didn't want to get any smaller. So from here on out, he was going to ask people to save energy, and he was going to help me on my mission. So those 2 assemblies we offer, where we come out to your school and do them, the Energy Hog and the Energy Piggy for the younger kiddos. Then there's a 3rd option this year, where your students can actually perform the Energy Hog assembly. So we would ship to you sort of a miniature costume, one that's not going to have liability attached to it. So the students wear their own clothes underneath. All it is like a hat with ears on it. It's got a little pig nose that they put on. It's got a chain and a leather jacket. And your students can either make up a skit for this Energy Hog assembly. They can make a video with it and send and show it to the entire school. They can go into different classrooms. We have a script if they decide they want to use the script. This is a whole student-led thing. And so it's super fun. I've seen it performed and the students really get into it and they start to laugh because it's their friend in the costume. And then they wind up becoming super popular because of it. So it's a lot of fun. So I definitely encourage you to take advantage of the student-led Energy Hog assembly. Okay, the next thing would be, oh, and by the way, just email me if you want an Energy Hog assembly or if you want an Energy Piggy assembly for your younger students. Or if you want that student-led one, just email me and I can ship it out to you. And then when you're finished with it, you would ship it back to me and I would cover the cost for that. Okay, next thing is we are in the month of October, though it is almost over, but we do encourage you to take part in Energy Action Month throughout your school. If you go to energy.gov, you can come across some really good tips for the month to do. And basically, it will be a really good way for you to kickstart things, to let people know what's going on. You can use whatever activity you do for Energy Action Month in your other tab for Energy Basics. Just again, make sure you take pictures and take documentation down. Or you can just utilize it as, hey, let's do some stuff to take action in the month of October and start reducing our energy now. The next thing is, if you are within the New Jersey Natural Gas program, you would want to set up a New Jersey Natural Gas energy auditor to come to your school. And what they do is they talk about what they do on a home energy audit. So they bring really cool tools like a blower door and an infrared thermometer. And then they have a crank where they show the difference between how much energy it takes to physically light an incandescent bulb versus an LED bulb. And so the students actually get to play with that crank. It's really neat. They have a short presentation. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes, and the students really get a lot out of it. So I encourage you to do that if you are within the New Jersey Natural Gas program. You can call me or you can email me, and I can set that up for you. And as well, I'll be sending out a follow-up email with some extra information for you along with this video. Okay, so now if you're within the New Jersey Natural Gas program, I encourage you to take down this information. If you decide that you want that New Jersey Natural Gas home auditor to come to you, my direct contact for that is Susan Ellman, who's on the left-hand side. And so if you prefer to go through her directly, you're welcome to, or you can go through me and I can set it up with her to have that person come out to your school and speak to either your entire school or just your Power Save Schools team. Again, it's a really neat presentation. And then on the right, Carolyn Cannon, she is the one who puts out a lot of the programs for New Jersey Natural Gas. So for instance, they have a poster contest for high schools. They have, I'm sorry, that's for fifth graders is the poster contest. They have a video contest for high schoolers, and I'll send you all of that information as well. So she puts all of that out. Plus they also have an Energy Hog costume. So if you're having an event that you want the Energy Hog at, or if you want their version of the Energy Hog assembly, which is really so cool. They do a fun trivia contest and they play games and they really get the whole school involved. Then you can contact Carolyn Cannon and she will come out. She will have her team come out and do any of those things. If you want to just contact me, you can always, I'm the middleman, so you can always contact me. But those are your two contacts for New Jersey Natural Gas if you want them. If you're with the South Jersey Gas program, this is going to be your contact over there. Now, again, you can always go through me first, but Patrick is a really great contact, and they're really getting on board for a lot of super fun things this year. They're trying to get more out into the schools to make sure the schools have their presence there. So you can always contact him if you want to on your own. Again, you can go through me if you decide you want to. Sustainable Jersey for Schools. If you are already registered, you likely have this information already, but Veronique Lambert is the main contact over there for our programs for Sustainable Jersey for Schools. Her and Heather McCall are like the top girls in the program. But you're welcome to contact Veronique directly if you have questions about the application or anything else that has to do with their grants that they put out that only you are allowed to go at, how many are available, what the time slots are. There's ways on the program website to sign up for reminders on grants or webinars or things like that. Veronique is your girl. She's really great. She's extremely knowledgeable. She's been around with Sustainable Jersey for Schools forever, and she is willing to help in any way she can. Again, you can go directly through me with any of these people too. Okay, and then here is our direct contact for Allison Mulch at the New Jersey Audubon Eco Schools. So she can walk you through their application. She can tell you more about what they offer. You can go through me or you can go directly through her, but these are great resources for you to have. Again, I'm going to be putting this up on your teacher platform within the Empowered portal, so that you'll always have access to this PowerPoint with all of this information. And then this is my direct information. So my email address is jratora@asc.org. Make sure that I do not go to your junk folder. I will be sending you a good amount of emails throughout the year. It's really good information. I try not to send junk emails. I try to just make sure that I bulk it up and send as few emails as possible, but with the maximum amount of information as I can. And again, I think it's all good information. And then that's my direct cell phone number, 561-713-5116. Feel free to call me, text me, email me, whatever you want, and I will be there for you. Well, thank you all so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time. I hope to see you at the mid-year meeting. I will get those dates out as soon as possible, as soon as I confirm them with New Jersey Natural Gas and South Jersey Gas. I will get those out to you. Thank you so much. I really look forward to working with you this year, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.